Building legacies, bridging the wealth gap, teaching financial literacy, and providing you with the keys to success. Nothing is off the table. Building legacies, one brick at a time.
Welcome to the Building Legacies podcast. This what? Episode what? Where we at now? E200? Nah, where we at now?
Yo, episode
7, right?
7.
We're on episode 7, man. So we still here. And so what's been going on, eh?
Oh man, I can't complain, man. You know my motto. I'm just happy to be here, man. You know, another day, above ground, and another day free. You know what I'm saying? I'm happy, man. I can't complain, man. How about yourself, man?
Oh man, I'm you know me, man. Every day is a beautiful thing, man. I feel like you. As long as we here, as long as we wake up in the morning, there's a chance. You know what I mean? So, I'm gonna stay with the motivation model, man. Sometimes people be hitting me. They be like, yo, I heard that already. I be like, you're gonna hear it again. I'm gonna say it again tomorrow, man, because really, some people, man, you need to hear it, man. You need to hear it.
And as we know, repetition deepens the impression, because you have actual scholars been told the same thing. Like, yo, man, you say the same thing over and over. He said, I'm gonna continue to say it until I see some improvement.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm not, and I don't want to sometimes act like I'm far removed. I just would sometimes we think, man, it can only be one of us. Like, it can only be one King of New York, when it's a rapper. It can only be one, podcast king. It can only be one this and one that. And it's like, we got to come out of that mind state, that everybody, that the field is open for us all. And it can be more than one. Like in all these other different coaches, it's more than one. Yeah, there's always going to be the best, the echelon, but it can be more than one. I remember when I first started doing the motivational speaking, and I'm going to tell you, people was like, oh, you trying to be like Wallow? I said, nah, I said, yo, listen, the brother inspired me, man. I mean, the brother from Philly, but he, and he inspired me, man, to see a brother come home and say, you know what, it don't matter how I was going. This is how I see it myself. It almost reminds me seriously of how we do from the town. It's like, it's all about us, and it ain't about nobody else but us. And you got to keep that attitude. It almost brought me back to be like, man, yeah, he right, because I was always giving brothers some jewels. So it's like, he brought me back, man. And I feel like, yo, listen, I gotta go ahead and not exactly following the path, but go ahead and do my own thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no doubt, man. Like I said, there's always room for different perspectives. You know what I mean? Like, even though we come from the same background and walk of life, we all got different perspectives of how those experiences affected us. And your message may be effective for a certain group of people. His message, everybody's message will be able to touch different people. You know what I mean? Because although we come from the same walk of life, we have different personal experiences. So it's important that, those of us that have those experiences and dedicated to the mission of wanting to see improvements and inspire, we all got to put our voices out there. You know what I mean? Because
absolutely,
you have a group of people who may resonate with what you're saying versus someone else. And we all are on the same path and mission. So we just got to keep doing what we do. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And we on that path. We doing it, man. I get a lot of flowers, man, while I'm still here, and I appreciate it. So, and it reminds me to give other people their flowers while they still here, man, because, we always wait till somebody is gone to speak good about them. But we got to start doing it now. But, yeah, there's a lot going on, man. There's a lot going on right now. We can't touch into everything, but one thing we do know, because this is Building Legacies, we like to speak on the growing business acumen from our brothers, and our sisters, and that's what we're doing. The mindset of our people right now is changing how it was before. Right now, people, they want to know. They want to become inspired. They want to open up their own business. They want to know how they can either start a side business or create something where they can quit their 9-to-5. And we're becoming more resourceful, more intelligent. We've always been intelligent, more knowledgeable, may I say, you know what I mean? And seeking a way to try to become financially free. So that's our motto here, and we love that. And we love the spending power of our people because it gets greater and greater each year. Now, what we do with that spending power is a whole different thing. You feel what I'm saying? So I believe the spending power right now of is 1.6 trillion collectively, you
Right.
know. Um, but the wealth collectively haven't really grown much of African Americans because a lot of us is we only represent 13% of the population, and what we spend a lot on goods and services, but we don't produce any goods and services for someone else to spend on us. So,
Right.
well, they said if we had our own country, we'd be the 13th richest country in the world. So I think that's speaking big. We got to learn as we go down the line to harness our spending power and have a little bit more togetherness, unity, man. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, absolutely, man. And when you think about that $1.3 trillion, man, it's significant. Like you said, we'd be classified as the 13th richest nation on earth if, we were a nation of our own. And we are, you know what I mean? We're a nation within a nation, but we have to think and behave in a certain way because once we look at ourselves as a nation, then we may start to see some behavior changes. Now, when you think about that $1.3 trillion, right, it's being dispersed, you know what I
Yeah,
mean, to everywhere else aside aside from where it should be going to. You know what I mean? So, like you mentioned, we need to harness that money, get what I'm
hmm
saying, start building up our communities and doing things. Because as we know, the black dollar doesn't circulate one day in a black community. You know what I mean? As soon as people get their money, 95% of the black dollars leaves the community, right? You get what I'm saying? And then the 5% that remains, 3% of that goes to other ethnic groups that's living in our communities, whether it's the
absolutely.
Koreans, Chinese, all of that. 2% is what we retain, right? So you think about that. And I heard a scholar say this one time. We try to do the impossible. How could you live off of 2% of your
Ab-
income?
Absolutely.
Right? Just think about it from an individual
We
perspective.
do the impossible.
Right? We do the impossible. But think about this. If you working your job, right, and then 2% of your income you had to live off of, you wouldn't be able to do it or survive on it, right? So that's what we're doing on a collective basis with all of that money that we generate annually, right? When you look at other communities, their dollars circulate upwards of 18 times. You understand what I'm saying? So one person will get a dollar, he'll spend it with someone else that looks like him. That person would spend it with someone else that looks like them. You know what I'm saying? So it continues to circulate. But that's not the case with us. And when you think about it, that's why these marketers, right? These marketing companies, right? They
hmm
do extensive research
Absolutely.
on us specifically, but now we're talking about the black community and that spending power. So they looking like the same way, like, okay, it's $1.3 trillion annually, annually that circulates amongst these people. Their mission is to figure out how to get that out of us, right? That's
Absolutely.
why it's always a product being marketed to us. You understand what I'm saying? And
Absolutely.
so, as opposed to what's saying, like you mentioned, hold on, we got to stop being over consumers and uh, begin to produce something and provide for our own needs. You know what I mean? So we can support one another's businesses and things of that nature. So yeah, so when you think about it from that perspective, man, $1.3 trillion, if it's not aggregated, it doesn't mean anything.
Absolutely. It doesn't mean a thing if it's not, absolutely.
Yeah, it's not
You
aggregated.
see
If it's
more.
not uh, total and looked at it from a collective standpoint, it doesn't mean anything. So, uh, like we mentioned, when you think about what we spend our money on, you know what I mean? Liquor, you know what I mean? Luxury, for the females, the makeup, cosmetic, you know, the black,
Hair products, all that.
all of
Yeah.
that. Get what I'm saying? So that's where a lot of our money is going. And then we think about it from a wealth perspective. the wealth individually in the Black community is very low. We don't have any assets. You know what I mean? So we have income, but no assets. So that money is just going and going. You know what I mean? So we have to rethink, what we're doing. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I was looking at a program and the guy was saying that we speak about this the spending power and like you said, but inside the communities, right? But in the households, you got poor, middle class, and you got upper middle class, and you got rich, right? But inside the house, or even if you got middle class, most people are really just, even though they made it the middle class, you actually working to keep the lights on, so to speak. You actually working to live to continue to big up the lifestyle that you created for yourself. You
Right.
mostly have two cars. You're paying on those cars. You're paying mortgage, home insurance. You're paying so much out that you're not really accumulating any wealth. Well, the real wealth, sorry, comes from the home that you have. That's where most of your wealth is at. But that's over a period of time as it gains equity. But really, it's also a debt as well because you got a $300,000-$400,000 house that you have to pay on. You
That's right.
see, I mean, you can take the equity out of there after a period of time, but you're really not developing any hard, solid wealth. You're not accumulating any financial wealth. And collectively, we spend that. And what are we doing together to try to see, like you said, can we harness that? So watch this. We speak in financial, right? But we know building legacies come in all aspects, shapes, form, and fashions. The mindset has to be changed, right? Because, like you said, the marketing has been done a job on us. Like everyone
Right.
wants nice things. You want a nice crib, you want a nice car, you want nice things, but you got to compartmentalize those things, right? So they targeting us, and in our brains and in our minds, we want these things. So listen, by me being in the apparel game, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes people that's close to me or people that I know and see, I still see them. Here it is, it's been a year later, 2 years later. I look at them every time I see them. They got the Adidas on, right? Like, oh, they got the Nike joint on the polo. I said, listen, you done contributed to you have contributed to sending their kids, grandkids, and great grandkids to school, and you have enriched them. Like you are continuing to do it. You know
Right.
what I mean? You told me, yo, I'm gonna get something, but every time I see you, you got this. And it's not more so of being salty or complaining. It's more so of the mindset. Like
Right.
right now, I'm of the mindset that I really want to wear nothing but these brands that we create and like my own and we creating because none of that money that we spending out is circulating back to us. All of ours is going out, but they're not thinking about us
Right.
at
That's
all. And I'm not saying individually here's your money. I'm saying they're not paying attention to us to a degree where they saying we get a bulk of our income from this demographic. How do we invest back into this demographic so it can increase our bottom line and also let them see that they're getting a return on what they're spending? And it's just not, so not only are we being done a job on from the outside, but from within, from one another, from each other. You see somebody come out with something, support them. Show
right.
love to them. Support them. Show them because sometimes I'll go by and now I don't even want that cream. Is that black owned? Yeah, all right, let me get that cream. I buy it.
Right.
Let me get that book. I might not even read the book. You know what I mean? I'm gonna get it because I know that might be that one sale away from them reaching their destination or their quota or what they was getting for that day.
Mm.
Because in the same way I want it to be given to me. I hand them a card for my
Right.
business, and so it has to be reciprocal and circulate in a proper way.
Right. Yeah, absolutely, man. I strive to do that as well, man. Support those of us, man, that's trying to do the right thing, uh, putting out product, services and things of that nature. Because I understand the grind, you know what I mean. And then I see the bigger picture as well, you know what I mean. And only thing I could hope that it, like I said, it's reciprocated, but also it's extended to another brother or sister. You know what I mean? Because we all in this struggle together. So I'm definitely of the same mindset, man. And yeah, we have so much potential, right? Right at our fingertips, but we're not necessarily acting on it. But it is, I am starting to see a change in the mindset. It's gradual, but I'm seeing it. But
Absolutely.
And I guess we could contribute that to the internet, the financial literacy conversation.
Uh-huh.
It's spreading out. I'm seeing that all over. Maybe that's just the algorithm that I'm on. You know what I'm saying? So naturally, I'm gonna see a lot of that.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I see,
Oh, you're
brothers.
not, so you saying you're not on the algorithm of the bullshit. You're not,
Nah,
that don't pop.
no. I don't see none of that stuff. I
Yeah,
hear,
that don't pop up, huh?
no, I don't pop up. I may hear about it. You know what I'm saying? Through, but my algorithm is always things that's in line with what I'm on for the most part.
Hmm.
You know how that be, what you search and scroll. So I'm seeing a lot of conversations about financial literacy. And that's very important, man. And just wealth building.
Uh-huh.
Man, it's very important, man, because I like to paint this picture, right, in terms of wealth versus income. And I think this is very important, man. That, say, for instance, you got two individuals, right? You got two next door neighbors. They both are making or bringing in $100,000 a year, right? But one person is bringing in $100,000 a year from their job. So they may be, I don't know, engineer or something. They bring $100,000 a year, but it's sweat on their brow every night
Absolutely.
to earn that $100,000. But they live in a middle class lifestyle, upper middle class lifestyle. Their next door neighbor, he's getting $100,000 a year too. But guess what? His $100,000 is coming from assets. So he may be
Yeah.
worth, right? He may be worth $8 to $10 million. You get what I'm saying? But the guy with the $100,000 with the job, he thinks he's equal to this guy. But
Absolutely.
in reality, this guy's worth about $10 million, and passively, his assets is bringing
Generating income.
right. It generate income, giving him $100,000 a year versus you have to work for your $100,000 a year. You think you equal to him, but you're not worth anything technically. You may be just worth your weekly or bi-weekly salary. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Wealth is very important, man. I always stress, man, because when you look at things from a wealth perspective, the income that you receive from your hustles, your job, whatever, you looking to see where can I place this? You know what I mean? What asset, stock, bond that I could place this that's going to
Absolutely.
appreciate and grow over time. So
Absolutely.
wealth is the key, man. You know what I mean?
Wealth is the key. But listen, B, that passive income is exactly what we've been talking about, is what we started on this platform. But it started with me and you as well. Do you remember when I used to say, E, listen, man, I'm going. When I was leaving before you, E, and I said, listen, man, they're not going to have me in the Pepsi plant, E.
Yeah,
Remember I told you that? We used to
yeah,
be listen, they're not going to have me on the clock in line on the Pepsi plant. Man, I thought that was funny, but when I got here and I realized it maybe wasn't the Pepsi plant, but it was another plant. When I
right,
realized, I held out to the very moment, but it's like, listen, you got to pay bills, you got to start contributing.
right.
Man, I wound up in those joints, and when I called you, I said, when you called me, I said, E, I'm in the Pepsi plant, man. But each of those years that I was home, I look back and I say, listen, I had to do what I had to do. But listen, nothing is better than that financial freedom. Nothing is better than to see your blood, sweat, and tears put in for yourself in order to see the return for yourself. And that's the only way a person can be free. That's the only way we can totally be free, when we have that passive income that you're talking about, those assets that's generating wealth, investment assets that's generating income. That's the only way we can totally and truly be free, when we can master our own destinies and do what we have to do for ourselves and our generations behind us. So,
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah, absolutely, man. I think about when I came home, and those that may not or just tuning into the show, my brother Stan and I, we met in the federal prison. So, and I remember the day he went home, you know what I mean? And I came home, shortly after. But I knew coming home that, no one was going to give me anything, because I knew I had to start from the bottom. I was under no illusions about it, you know what I mean? So I kind of prepared myself like, okay, I'm going to have to start, wherever I have to, just to get something going. You know what I mean? And like I said, I worked in a like I say, the mattress factory. You know what I mean? And but that was a good experience for me, man. And I'm glad I went through that before starting my own business. You know what I mean? Because it taught me a lot of valuable lessons. I had to grind. You know, and I'm so appreciative of where I am now.
Yeah,
And I'm nowhere near where I would want to be. The vision I have for
absolutely,
myself. I speak to some people, they be like, yo, E, man, you straight. I say, man, you know, I got a vision for myself. You know what I'm saying?
absolutely.
And I'm nowhere near that vision.
Great.
But I am grateful, you know, for where I am today. You know what I'm saying? And I was able to kind of go through the process. You know what I'm saying? And of starting a business and going through those challenges of the business, man. But yeah, it's no shame in working in the Pepsi plant. You
No,
know?
it's no shame. Actually, man, sometimes I gotta check myself because I talk about that so much. I talk about that, and actually, somebody had to tell me, listen, some people are cool with that way of going. Some people is cool because they got everything planned out. They know what they want to do. They got their profession. They may complain a little bit, but they also got a plan. Now I'm gonna
Right.
grind right here. I'm gonna put this work in right here, and then I know that how I'm gonna position myself for later on in life as far as retirement goes. So I'm not opposed to that. Um, so the ball wasn't in our court in those terms because of the outcome that we had from the choices we made. So therefore, we are behind the eight ball. We behind the race. We lapse behind the race. So we don't got time to craft that plan. That plan of trying to
Yeah.
craft the retirement plan is dead for us. So so I'm throwing ideas against the wall every day, right? And I know when I talk to people, they be like, "Hey, what happened to that other idea? You done threw that away, that it ain't stick. It fell off the wall. Then I'm throwing something else on the wall." You gotta
Right.
keep throwing the ideas, keep going out, and you gotta be patient. Cause I just put out a video with Dame Dad's voice behind it and some of my apparel, and it said, if you think you're gonna get rich quick, in anything that you do, you got the idea messed up. You know what I mean? It takes a long time for for the wheels start to work in your favor. You're gonna be broke for a long time. You're gonna be doing bad for a long. So yeah, so you gotta work. I'm not here to try to say, yo, don't work, quit tomorrow, everything gonna be lovely. But you have to craft a plan for yourself and figure out what you're gonna do. You're gonna pay yourself first, like our last guest said, pay yourself, take care of everything you gotta take care, then work towards saving up to get to a certain point to start doing things for yourself. But you got to have a plan.
Right.
Everything starts with a plan. You gotta have a plan and you gotta have a mission, and you gotta stay on that plan and mission. For me, I'm on like 4 or 5 missions all at one time. You know that ADD is going. And I'm
Right.
working over here and I'm doing this here and I'm planning this here and I'm strategizing this here. I can't wait to get to the point where I have a team that handle all the different things that I'm handling because it's from 8 in the morning to 12 at night, man. Or maybe sometime 1 or 2 in the morning and still gotta get up 8 in the morning. You know what I mean? It don't stop. You gotta put the work in if you want to be financially free. And that's just what I'll be doing.
Yeah, nah, I mean, that's the only way, man, you know, and a lot of times too, like when we see successful people or have had success financially, like we don't know what they've been through to get where they are. A lot of times, particularly like we see these guys like we use as an example. We see like a Jay-Z. Jay-Z been grinding so long, but we see him now billionaire status. That didn't happen overnight. You get what I'm saying? So he had to put a lot of work in, and that's gonna be the same for us. Nothing's gonna fall on our lap, you know, unless you got like some special talent, you could rap or jump high or something like that. But if not, then you got to start businesses. Be prepared for that grind because, like with any business, like you say, you're going to be broke for a while. You may just be covering your bills, and then the
Uh-huh.
rest you have to reinvest
Reinvest.
into the
Absolutely.
business. You know what I mean? And you know, for your business to survive. You know what I mean? So you have to be prepared for that. And luckily for us and those like us coming from the background we come from, this not a new concept. You know what I
Oh
mean?
no.
It's not a new concept. So when I started, you know, my business, I already knew I was prepared psychologically for the challenges, the setbacks. You know what I mean? I prepared sufficiently because, like I said, coming from where I come from, it was the same thing. Taking losses, having to re-up or reinvest the profits back into the business. You know, you may extend to a point where you have employees that you
Absolutely.
have to pay. You eat last. You know what I mean? Because you have to make sure everyone is paid. You get what I'm saying? You got to make sure that's just the nature of the business. So, if
So
you're not,
we was implementing those principles, those business principles in the wrong way, but nonetheless, uh, some of us knew and some of us didn't know. I didn't know. I was one of the ones that didn't know that actually what I was doing was actually the same principles that's used in legal businesses. You
right,
know, when it came to product inventory, marketing, testing of goods,
right,
I mean, fractioning out pay for people, and like you said, accumulating that specific fraction for yourself. It's all a part of business. But for me, I'm not gonna tell you no lie. For me, maybe I was under a false impression. I thought automatically, man, that listen, man, you put the work in, you grind, you figured it out. Now you put the product out there, and the money gonna start rolling in. And I was severely, man, woken up quickly. Like I'm sitting here, like, yo, hold on, I followed the principles. I know I went step by step, and I did everything I'm supposed to do, but it's not yielding no results. And I start letting it affect me.
mm,
I start letting it say, damn near everybody that mostly that I know was drilling in where we come from, the work, the work, the work. We gotta work, we gotta work. Even when I came home, my parents, God bless them, they kept saying, son, you gotta go out there and work. Go out there and work. And I misunderstood them at first.
mm-hmm,
But my mother was real protective. I misunderstood him when she was like, listen, you got to work. My pops was like, you got to work. They was protective. They didn't want us to get in the same trouble. But my pops had to tell me because I was like one day like, yo, damn, how come nobody don't see in my vision, man? Like, man, how come nobody don't think that we can be more than just going to get a job? Like every time I talk about something other than working, I'm the bad guy. You know what I'm saying? I'm the person that's out the loop. I'm bugging or something. I'm crazy. But man, as soon as I say, nah, I don't want to work. Huh? You gotta go to work. And it's like, damn, I'm bugging out. But I realize now what they meant.
mm-hmm.
I don't know if I said this before, but my father said, you can have the biggest mountain and you can have the biggest tractor to take down that mountain, right? But if
Yep.
you don't have money for gas to put in the machine to take down the mountain, what's the use of having those things? You know what I mean? So basically, what he was saying was, you can aspire to have more, but you got to put the work in, and you got to go ahead, and you may have to get you that job that you don't want. You may have to do that overtime. You may have to get that second job in order to get to where you want to be. What's the use of having a dreaming big if you're not willing to put the work in to meet that goal? So
Right,
yeah,
right. Yeah, and that was a good jewel, man. Sometimes we have to do what we have to do. You know what I mean? And um, yeah, that's just the bottom line. You know what I mean? Because we don't come from, where a silver spoon. You know what I'm saying? Where resources on that level is just available to us. You know what I mean? So it's like, man, I gotta get a job. I gotta save, try to save. You got bills to pay. Then you're trying to save over here and save. But sometimes it take years. You know what I
it's
mean? And
something.
yeah, it take
And you
years.
can't breathe.
Right, you
As
can't
soon as
breathe.
you think you gotta do two steps ahead, something happened. You gotta be like, damn, I saved this up, but now I gotta use it for this, and it's like I'm starting over again. It was
Right,
crazy, man. It
right,
was
right,
crazy.
right. Yeah, that's the nature of it, man. But like, I was having a conversation the other day, man, and all that's a part of the journey. And in the journey, that's where the fun is because it's like if we just skipped over that part, it got right to just like wow, like a magician it's like would it feel as good? You know what I'm saying? Knowing you going through what you're going through, having to work at the job, doing something you don't want to do, right? Then when you finally reach your goal, it feels better. Like,
It
damn,
does.
I actually put in the work to get here. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Nobody can tell you anything. You know what I
absolutely.
mean? Like,
Absolutely.
because you got people, they make excuses for why they aren't where they are, but they're not putting in the work necessarily. You know what I mean? So I think the all of the fun is in the journey. You know what I'm saying? So we gotta appreciate the ups and downs, the roller coasters, because that's when you really gonna feel fulfilled and a sense of enjoyment when you get to your goal
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
what you've been through. And
Absolutely.
and I want the wealth, but I want to feel good also. You understand my point? I want to like relish in it. Like, man, I got it.
I did this.
I worked hard to get here. You know what I mean? I did this, I did that. You know what I mean? Because
Absolutely. Absolutely.
like even with myself, in a previous job, I'm working 80, 90 hours a week. Savage. You get what I'm saying? And so when I was able to start my business, it felt so good. You get what I'm saying? Because I know the work I put in, sleepless nights, literally, because I worked overnight. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
sleepless nights. I'm only off of work for about 5 hours. Then I'm back. You know what I mean? I'm doing this consistently for about 2.5 years. So when I was able to start my business, it felt so, uh, man, so good,
Gratifying.
gratifying, man. Like I worked for this. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So yeah, I just say that to say, man, we got to keep grinding, stay focused on our goal, always looking at different opportunities and ways to achieve our goal individually and collectively. Because I know we started off when we talking about us as a group with our spending power of $1.3 trillion, right? Or 1.6 trillion now, and it's going
Yeah.
to keep increasing as with inflation and things like that. You're going to see things continue to increase, and it's like, okay, what are we going to do with this money? Get what I'm saying? As a group, are we just going to continue to wanting to be the workers or the employees of society? You know what I mean? Or we want to start to produce. That's our choice. Because if we don't take the necessary steps to do it, then we couldn't complain
That's
about
true. What somebody else has.
right our condition because there's a lot of things we could and should be doing. You know what I mean? We see in other ethnic groups historically that came here, even though they may have had certain advantages, but when you look at what they actually did, right? They pooled their resources. You know what I'm saying? And you see, that's a pattern. You see,
That's a pattern.
it's a pattern. The pooling of resources. We don't pool our resources enough. We too individualistic.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that we got to get over. Because in New York, I used to see that too. I don't know how it is now, but back in the day, I'll see one smoke shop, and you'll see 5 or 6 of them in there. And then next time you go in there, it could be a month later, 2 months later, one of those dudes that was in there in that smoke shop, they down the block, they got another smoke shop open. Next thing you know, they're around the corner. One of the other guys got that, you know. And it's like that's the mentality that I think, to be honest with you, I've been trying to implement since I've been home, putting jewels in certain people ear. But for some reason, people don't know how to cross market, come together. Yo, I don't want to mess with that dude right there. Nah, I don't want to get with him right there. We got to learn to put our emotions to the side, and we got to learn to start coming together collectively, analytically, and say, listen, man, if we pool our resources together on this one project,
Right.
once this one project yield results, then the next man can get that project. We'll work on that. And then the next man. And then we'll just continue the cycle all over again.
Mm-hmm.
That's where we got to get to. So we're speaking about the spending power financial, but like I said earlier, it has to be also a retraining of the mind to stop thinking the I, me, me.
Right.
It feels good, like you said, when you put the work in, you can say, I did this. I accomplished. Just like back in the days, when we was hustling. What we did, grind from the bottom for somebody else. I don't know about you. Then next thing you know, you're doing your own thing. Then you putting the work in for yourself. Then you taking falls. Then you coming back up. Then you getting to the point where you're like, man, I've been grinding. And
Right.
now I'm finally there. Now I'm waiting to get over the top. For some of us, it didn't happen like that. You feel what I'm saying? And even though it's like a dangling carrot, I seen it and I was almost there. I could never reach the carrot. You feel what I'm saying? So thank God we here. We got a second chance, man. And we implementing those same principles, but in a much more positive arena, man. So for this episode of episode 7, we wanted to touch on the spending power of African Americans. We wanted to touch on, motivation, inspiration, and how we should sometimes put away or put aside our emotions and come together and think analytically and professionally and try to get the job done. Because it ain't always about us. It's about what we leaving behind, building the legacy. You know what I'm saying, E?
Absolutely, man. That's what it's all about, man. And you hit it
So
right.
absolutely. Go
Yeah.
ahead, not to cut you
No,
off.
I
You
think
know that.
you hit it right on the head, man. It's the retraining of the mind, right? Of about collective work and responsibility. So the the sooner we're able to do that, the sooner we'll see some improvements in our condition.
We'll be able to get out the misery, huh, man?
Absolutely.
But listen, this has been a beautiful session talking to you. Always as always, but we politic all the time. But we want everybody to know, man, to go to buildinglegacies.com. You can go in there. You guys can get some merch. Merches start going up in there. Get the hoodies, man. Try to get the hats, man, and represent Building Legacies because we representing the culture.
Yes, sir.
Um, many of you viewers know that I do the motivational videos. I'm trying to start to get into the motivational space heavy as time go on. So go to stancgalia.com and support that. Go to Stan C. Galia to also get the book Eyes of Deception. Stay tuned to Building Legacies is on all platforms, wherever you watch your podcast or wherever you listen to your podcast. We're going to be there. So as always, we come with love. Let's go, let's get it.
Yeah.